Hi book lovers, I want to talk about all the new releases coming this fall. We've got so many anticipating releases coming this fall, and I'm talking about September, October and November in this video. So if you want to know what's coming into the bookstores over the next few weeks and months, then just keep on watching. And I really want to give you guys my own fall TBR, but honestly, when I put this list together, again, I feel like there were so many books and I didn't really want to rush through any of them. So I will do my fall TBR next separately, so we can talk about the books that I personally have on my TBR, and I won't talk about the ones that I want to read from these new releases, because just think that all of them or most of them that I will mention I actually want to read and will put on my fall TBR as well. So if you're interested in that, then subscribe. I would love to have you here and you'll get my fall TBR next. However, let's talk about these anticipated releases, because something that makes me also very excited about books is seeing what comes out. I feel like the anticipation of something, and I don't know what's it called in English. Vorfreude? No, anticipation is literally Vorfreude. I love that feeling, because when the day then comes where your book is out, you're just extra excited to read it. And I have my laptop here just for all my notes, because otherwise I will just forget a bunch of books. So that's why I might look down from time to time. And I will talk about the new releases chronologically, like from when they will come out. And today when I film this, it's the 17th. So I will include books from today on out. So books that are released today and then all going into November. Therefore, the book I'm going to talk first about is the book that is released today, which is Rewitched by Lucy Wood. And this one seems just like a very cozy, atmospheric, witchy book. And this one I think has a love story as a subplot within, but it's more really about our main character, Belladonna, and rediscovering her magic. And she, I think, has to do like a trial or something to not lose her magic as a witch. And she kind of feels burned out. She's about to turn 30 and she just needs help from all her good friends. And then also this handsome watchman who seems to really want to protect her. And we love a protective hero. So this is definitely also on my radar for fall. The next book that also actually has its release date today, We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. He's also the author of the Cozy Murder Club series. And I think I would really enjoy his books because I really like a cozy mystery, and that's pretty much his vibe. And this book is about a father-in-law and daughter-in-law, because the father-in-law is actually a retired investigator. And when the daughter-in-law gets into some trouble, Steve is there to solve the mystery. Also in September, we have Sally Rooney's newest book, Intermezzo, and can we just talk about the cover? I think it is so gorgeous. I think in general, I really like her covers, and it's crazy because I only ever read one book by her, which was Conversations Between Friends. And I absolutely loved that book. I mean, it's been years since I read it, but I gave it a 5-star back then. And I really enjoyed actually her writing because I think it was so different. And I think I just clicked with it. But sometimes, and I don't know why, I can enjoy a book by an author so much and then never read anything else by that author. And that happened with Sally Rooney. And I think it's because her books are like general fiction, and yes, they have like a love story, but it's also very complicated characters. And I mean, I like that about her books, but it's not really my usual genre or my usual read. And I think because it's so out of my comfort zone, I'm not like super eager to go into her other books, even though I think I might really enjoy them. And I do have Normal People on my 2024 TBR, so I really want to read that. But also Intermezzo, just because it looks so nice. Intermezzo is about two brothers and kind of how they deal with grief and what they discover about themselves through it, and also the woman they love. At least that's what I gathered. Also coming out September 24 is actually Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. And I personally read Better Than the Movies, which is the first book. So Nothing Like the Movies is the sequel to that one. And it is a very good young adult story. And a lot of people really enjoyed it. I personally gave it a 3-star. It wasn't like a ride or die for me. I kind of didn't really love our main character. So I don't think I will go into this one. I just don't really like Lynn Painter's writing, and that's okay. She's just not for me, but I know that a lot of other people really enjoy her books, so I wanted to include that as well. And Nothing Like the Movies also follows the same couple. I think kind of starts where the other one ended. On the same day, we have another book coming out, which is Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. And this one I heard nothing about before, but this is a fantasy that has the marriage of convenience trope. And of course, when I read that, immediately I was interested. And I'm just gonna read to you guys like the little synopsis. So young Tasman has the worst gig in Pantera. As a kind of persecuted stepsister to the realm's actual royal princess, she gets all the riskiest assignments, like being married off to a guy named Fel, the beast of the borderlands. But the marriage of convenience takes a turn into high fantasy when Tamsin discovers her own dormant powers. This one is actually with dragons. And here comes the tricky part for me, because I don't know why, but dragons really turn me off. Like, for some reason, that's where I draw the line. Like, you can give me fae, you can give me werewolves, vampires, all that stuff, but dragons are for some reason not that attractive to me. I can't tell you why, because I also never read a dragon fantasy. I haven't read Iron Flame is the second one, Fourth Wing, but I feel like if I would read a romantasy with dragons, it would probably be A Marriage of Convenience, since it's one of my favorite tropes. Now, coming to a very classical rom-com, we have The Wingman by Stephanie Archer coming out September 26th, and I'm very excited. It's the third book in her Vancouver Storm series, I think it's called, and I really enjoy Stephanie Archer's writing. I think the best way to describe her books, they are equally sweet but also very spicy. And I think she just has the cutest covers ever, and if you want like a good sports romance, I definitely recommend her Vancouver Storm series. And the third book, I think, is Friends to Lovers, and he's her dating coach. So that were all the September releases, or at least like the second half of September, since, you know, we're already halfway through September and where is time? So now we're entering the October releases. And I'm telling you guys, October 1st, so many books are coming out. Like, October is starting very strong. The first one is The Boyfriend by Freya McFadden. I read The Housemaid by her and I really, really liked it. I mean, it's such a popular thriller, but I get it. It is so good and I really enjoyed her writing, and I definitely want to read something else by her, and maybe I'm gonna go into her newest release. We have Sydney dealing with her persistent dating life troubles, handsome doctor, and a string of brutally murdered single women in New York. So if that sounds good to you guys, add this to your fall TBR. Then we have another romantasy coming out October 1st. It's called The Kiss of the Nightingale by Abby Diener, and this is set in like a alternative historical Paris, and I love everything set in Paris. And it says that The Kiss of the Nightingale weaves together the seduction of Bridgerton and the magic of Leigh Bardugo's Shadow and Bone series. And I know that a lot of people love the Shadow and Bone series. I also really like Bridgerton. So put these two things together and make like a really good romantasy, I think is really intriguing. It doesn't say that it's her debut novel, but it also doesn't say that she wrote any other books. So this actually might be her debut novel. Either way, I'm looking forward to this one. Another book coming out on October 1st is actually not really fall themed, but since it is coming out in October, I wanted to include it here. But this one is going straight onto my Christmas TBR. Like, it's not fall TBR material, but straight onto Christmas TBR. And that is Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herron Blake. And I think, first of all, this cover is so gorgeous. Delilah Green Doesn't Care is one of my favorite reads. I think good Christmas romances are hard to find, but I do believe that she can do it. And this one is about second chance, and both women are musicians, and by accident they end up in the same house for Christmas together. And it's also not just second chance, or they like had a little thing. No, they were like engaged. Next up I have a mystery thriller here, which is The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. I hope I'm saying his name right. But the synopsis for this one is, after a 3-year estrangement from his daughter, Frank is thrilled to receive an invitation to her upcoming wedding. He arrives at a luxe private estate to discover that Maggie is marrying Aidan Gardner, scion of a crazy rich billionaire clan. But why is Maggie ignoring him, and why are the locals also hostile? Author Jason Rekulak has the disturbing answers. And I don't know why, but this one kind of gives me like brainwashed cult vibes, and probably might not even be that, but I'm still excited for that release. Next up we have False God by C.W. Farnsworth, and she's an author that I feel like we don't hear enough about. She always writes about like really strong female characters, so if that's your thing, then definitely go check her out. One of my absolute favorite books is actually from her, which is The Fake Empire, and that one is A Marriage of Convenience. It's a theme. I like Marriage of Convenience, and it really gives Gossip Girl Chuck and Blair vibes. Like, we're talking about like rich people. And False God is actually the book of the daughter of the two main characters from The Fake Empire. So she's like the American it girl, and he's like a British duke, I think. So that one's coming out October 10th. The next book is probably the one that I'm at the moment craving the most, that I'm anticipating the most. and that is The Striker by Anna Huang. And in the Kings of Sin series, you meet a character that is really intriguing, and she made a whole book, and I think it's going to be a series as well, for that character. So the character that we met in her other series is Archer, and he's like the best football star right now in the Premier League. So we're talking about like European football, and I love football, so already I'm in. And we kind of have like a forbidden love romance because he fancies his coach. And I think they're on like the summer break where, you know, the players all go into like camps where they train a lot. And he really likes this trainer. But not only is she his coach, but she's also the sister of his teammate's rival. And the thing about Anna Huang's books, they are all kind of similar. Like, I don't think that the men are super different from each other, but you get a formula there that just works. And if you spread out when you read them, then you're gonna be so happy, because I just really like her books. Like, they're all very spicy. I love the female friendships. I really hope that Striker will strike. See what I did there? Oh my god, I'm so funny. Let's move on. So the next book is The Blue Hour by Paula Hawkins. Hawkins, I have to think about Stranger Things. Isn't that Hawkins as well? Anyway, so Paula Hawkins is also the author of The Girl on the Train, which was super popular like a few years back when also the movie came out. And I read The Girl on the Train like even before the movie came out. And I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it though. However, I wanted to mention that her new book is coming out October 29th, and it's described as an old school mystery thriller where you have your deceased artist, missing husband, past and present timelines, and at least one piece of art with a human bone in it, which I think it's just a great detail, right? That is the last new release I have for October. So we're gonna move on to November. And the first release I'm looking out for in November is gonna be Hex by Emily McIntyre. And that is the 6th installment actually from her Never After series. This is a dark romance series where she gets inspired by all the fairy tales, but the villain gets the girl. And they're not fantasy, so yes, they're inspired by the fairy tale, but they're all set in real world. And this one is actually inspired by The Little Mermaid, and I love The Little Mermaid. I also like that it's actually the woman that is a villain. I only read Twisted in that series so far, so they're also not interconnected. So you really can read any that interests you the most, that is the most intriguing to you. And I read Twisted, which is the 4th book in the series, and it was Marriage of Convenience, and it was the Aladdin retelling. So if you like The Little Mermaid, you can also read that one without having to read the other 5 books. I mean, if you want to, you can. But since we're so far into the series, I just wanted to make sure that you know you don't have to read the other ones if you really want to read this one, which is coming out November 5th, if I haven't said that one yet. Then jumping ahead to November 19th, we have such a good new release coming out, and that is the new book in the Crowns of Nyxia novel. And I'm really struggling with real names already, but when we come to fantasy names, I just can't. Okay, please don't be mad at me for butchering up all these names. But this is The Songbird and the Heart by Carissa Broadwin, and the other books that come before that are The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and the second one of that duology is The Ashes and the Star, and that duology is basically finished. Like, the 2 main characters that these books follow, like, that is done. And the 3rd book that's coming out now follows a new main character, Misha. Misha was already part of the other duology. She was like a main side character there, and I am so excited to get Misha's story because she was a great side character, and you could see that there was something going on with her, and obviously we touched on that, but since she wasn't the main character, we didn't really delve into that, and I'm so excited to see where that one's going. And also Carissa Broadwin is just very amazing at delivering plot and romance at the same time. This is also adult fantasy, so we do have some spice in here, which I like, but I don't know if you could go into this one without reading the other ones. I would assume, but again, I would suggest to read the other ones anyway. They're like Hunger Games, but with vampires. So if you don't know, like, we're talking about vampires here. Misha, who is a turned vampire, so she was human before, and she was forcibly turned, and she actually kills the person that turned her, and because of that she gets imprisoned, but someone comes and saves her. Misha gets her powers from the sun god, and she's kind of been feeling that the sun god turned away from her, but he comes to her again this time with the mission though, to kill the person that saved her. And I think that sounds just like so much tension and angst, and I can't wait for November 19th to come. Then my last release for this video is a very interesting one. It's also coming out November 19th, The City and Its Uncertain Walls by Haruki Murakami. And I've never read anything by this Japanese author, but I've heard really good things about it, and I kind of would like to go into one of his books, but I thought it was interesting that this is his first new release in the last 5 years. No, it's actually 6 years. So I thought this would be interesting to anyone who really likes his books. And this is marketed as Love Story, a quest, an ode to books and the libraries that house them, and a parable for these strange post-pandemic times. And I just wanted to mention that a new book is coming out by him. And obviously there are so many other new releases as well. These are the ones that I thought would be super interesting, the ones that I really anticipate. Editing with here because I forgot one book. It's from my absolute favorite author, so shame on me for forgetting about this novella. But this is her Christmas novella, and I'm so excited. It's called My December Darling. It's also set in Lake Wisteria, which is the setting for her latest book series. And it says, My December Darling is a 50,000-word Christmas-themed romance between a grumpy maid of honor and an outgoing best man who chases after what he wants. If you have any other new releases that you're really interested in and I haven't mentioned it, then please let us know in the comments. But I hope you liked this little anticipated new releases selection and you were able to put some new books on your TBR. As I said, I will share my fall TBR with you next, guys. So if you want to see them, definitely subscribe and be part of this little fam. Give this video also a like, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!